Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I must say to you. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. No summer's high, no warm July, no harvest moon to light one tender August night, no autumn breeze, no falling leaves, not even time for birds to fly to southern sky. No Libra sun, no Halloween, no giving things to all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is so awesome to fill your heart like no three words could ever do. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care about you. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. I was born by the river in a little tent. And oh, just like that, I've been running ever since. It's been long. A change gonna come. Whoa, yes it will. It's been too hard living, afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Now I go to the movies, and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long Long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, so now I'll go to my brother and I said, Brother, help me please. But somehow he winds up not hearing me. Back down on my knees. Oh, there were times I thought I wouldn't last so long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Yes, it will. Oh, I know a change gonna come. I said I know. Oh, change is gonna come. Hey, hey, change is gonna come. But now, oh, change is gonna come. I see it now. Hey, oh my, I said a change is gonna come.
Understanding that presentation is everything, Janine and her team at Exquisite Walls can design for birthdays, weddings, boutique farewells, and just about everything in between. Check them out on Facebook at JPECFD or their website on www.exquisitebannerwalls.co.za. Alternatively, inquiries via WhatsApp on 083 450 1802 for their latest catalog, designs, and pricing. Exquisite Banner Walls, designs produced to provide clients with the best possible experience. Whether you like it light and sweet, or perhaps even dark and bitter, Jude's Rhyming Coffee Brand is the perfect driver to start today. For every purchase made, they will donate $1 to the Special Olympics team of the US. Follow them on social media, the Rhyming Grind Coffee Spot, or order now via WhatsApp on 076 682 8045. Jude's Rhyming Coffee Grind. Coffee for a cause.
A wise man once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton David, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
Playing the music 24/7 in your life.
All right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Walk to Wellness, brought to you by All My Sports SA. My name is Alton David. I'm the host of the show, and it's good to be back. I'm here this week, I'm away next week, and I'm back the following week. So the show happens as much as I'm in Cape Town and as much as there's availability. Unfortunately, my job takes me out of town for a bit, so that's just how blessings that I have for my work. I played Stevie Wonder to welcome you. I just called to say I love you, and then I played a song by Seal, and the song "A Change Is Gonna Come." And there's some changes happening. Some changes are happening in my head and my heart, and I hope that in your head and your heart there are some changes that may be as a result of the conversation we're going to have tonight. But more importantly, I hope there's a change at some in the space that you find yourself. So, as is customary, my show is based on conversations that I have in and around my week, and I bring it home for me firstly, and then I package it, if you want to call it a package. I kind of put it together and share some thoughts with you on a Wednesday night. These are my thoughts, um, life experiences, some research, a fair amount of research at times. Uh, but it's about conversations, real conversations that I have with people in the work that I do, and I share these thoughts with you in the hope that it opens your eyes and your ears to various spaces that you may find yourself. Um, so the conversation tonight is a very interesting conversation. If you remember last week, we spoke about the menopause and menopause, about the difference between men and women going through life changes. And in order to get there, we're going to get there in the coming weeks. But in order to get there, there are certain things we need to be mindful of in that process to get there. And that's part of the conversation tonight. So the conversation tonight is around self-talk. It's around different types of abuse. It's around gaslighting. And it's about you being able to support somebody going through all of those things. That's the helicopter view of what tonight's show is about. You're welcome to jump onto our WhatsApp line +27069 2459543, which is our in studio WhatsApp line. I'm live on my personal Facebook, my personal YouTube, and you're welcome to join the conversation there and share your thoughts. Tell us what you think. Um, be part of the conversation. So we're going to kick off and have a conversation around negative self-talk. And negative self-talk for me is simple. It's when I degrade myself in conversation to myself. Negative self-talk is how I poorly treat myself in conversation to myself about myself when I am doing things. That's as simple as negative self-talk is. So often we get to a point where we constantly saying, "Oh, you're stupid. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why are you going down this road? Are you an idiot? Why are you thinking like this?" And that's kind of where I want to spend a bit of time and unpack it. But to take two steps back before we go forward, let me sketch it this way. And I had this conversation, interview I was in earlier today. So I was on the other side of the mic, and it was around male mental health. But this is a genetic thing, both across males and females, where we have negative self-talk. So when we are growing up, we are bombarded by negative feedback. So let me explain feedback firstly. So when something happens, people respond in a particular way, either positive or negative. So positive feedback would be, "Well done, my friend," giving you compliments, giving you positive acknowledgement for things that happen in your space. Negative feedback is, "Don't do this. Why are you doing that? Can't you see this? Why are you not opening and seeing these things?" So from a very young age, our parents and our guardians and our teachers invariably highlight our negative components in life, our negative behavior. We are not often rewarded for the positive behavior we have and exhibit, but more about the negative things that we do, which I have a significant problem with. Because how are we going to improve our lives if we don't have a positive outlook, first and foremost? So, because things are always negative, even when you, even at school, when you engage in a school exam or a test, they never say, have you ever heard, oh, you got 30% right or 70% right? They always go say, no, 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 you got 30% wrong. Because we are so engrossed by this negativity that surrounds us. We are so engrossed and say, no, no, I got 70% right, but I got 30% wrong. We are so focused on the negative without celebrating the positive. And all through our life, there's some existence of what happens. People are quick to criticize, people are quick to judge, people are quick to say bad things about. How often do people say good things? How often do you say something good about somebody else? As opposed to always saying negative things. Because when we say negative things, we we invariably engage that space that people want us to be in. Because now we are going down that road where people want us to feel to say negative things about them. And because we're saying negative things, we're reinforcing that negative perception, that negative belief that they are not worthy. That negative belief that whatever happens is never going to be good enough. So automatically, my fallback response is I'm going to be negative towards myself. Because why would I be positive to myself if no one else is? Does it make logical sense to you? So when we get to our 30s, 40s, and 50s, we're now in that space where it's so ingrained in us that we are so stuck in this negative space that our self-esteem, our morale is so low. Not SOLO, uh, SOLOW, so low, so laag, that it's difficult to pull ourselves out of that mire. It's difficult for us to believe that there's something positive. It's very difficult for us to believe that people can see something good in me. Because after all, 99% of the time I have engagement with people, it's all about the negativity. It's all about what am I doing wrong? Not what am I doing right. Not what I'm doing right, but how and what I'm doing wrong. And we need to get, in the famous words of a friend of mine, we need to have this paradigm shift. We need to be able to remove that blinkers. My favorite, one of my favorite things is removing the blinkers. Because as a racehorse, you've got these blinkers that are on the side of your head, and all they focus on is that finish line. We need to remove that blinkers and see the wood from the trees. We need to be able to see, have our peripheral vision open to be able to see that I'm not all. Can you believe that you're not all bad? That's the first thing. And it's having that paradigm shift to change it, to make yourself believe that you are not all bad. And then start reinforcing positive behavior. Start reinforcing positive attributes of your life. And we're going to get to some of that. We're going to get to spaces where we're going to look at some of the methodologies we can use to kind of look at that. But in order to do that, we need to acknowledge first and foremost that there is that negative self-talk. And there is that belief or that self-belief that I'm not worthy. There is that management in our heads that makes us believe that we are useless? Is that a fair assumption of your behavior? Is that a fair assumption of your skills and abilities to be able to say that you don't know what you're doing? I disagree with that because I think each of us have vast amounts of talent, vast amount of ability to do positive things, yet we don't acknowledge it. And therefore, we shy away, A, when someone gives us a compliment, B, when someone acknowledges that you have done something well, and C, we don't want to step up to do something different because they're already on that back foot, believing that I am not worthy, that I am incapable, that I am useless. So, why would I even want to attempt to do something different? Because nobody's going to believe me. No one's going to accept that I can do something different because we need to learn to retrain our brain. We need a paradigm shift to kick us out of that negativity, make our brains believe that we are good people, make our brains believe that we have the innate ability to deliver positivity, that innate ability to be good people and be able to help other people. Let's let's play a bull with the song. Let that digest, and I'll come back after this. When I wake up in the morning and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something's like water bears heavily on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead seems impossible to face, when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely when the dead alive ahead of me seemed impossible to face. And when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. I just want to look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
And the man once said, success is not final, it's not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton David, right here on Afrikaap.
This is Afrikaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your night.
All right, if you've just tuned in, good morning, good afternoon, welcome. My name is Alton. I'm the host of Walk to Wellness, brought to you by All My Sports SA. Most Wednesdays, I am here in studio having conversations with you on a range of different topics. And tonight is no different. Tonight is no, we're having conversations around negative self talk, around gaslighting, around abuse, and how to manage. I see, we talk about friends. I see my good friend Shafiq Foray is tuned on Facebook. I see Jacqueline Bogart. I see Nuran Davids. I see on WhatsApp line Mary Ann that says hi. Amanda says hi. And I'm sure there are many others who are camera shy, for want of a better term, who have not, who are just there. You're welcome to jump on the WhatsApp line, share your thoughts, your comments. Plus the 70692459543. Even if you want to remain anonymous, you can drop your comment and I'll share it. Or on my personal Facebook and on my personal YouTube, you're welcome to drop a comment and join the conversation. As always, this is I'd like to think, an interactive space where you're welcome to share your experiences and share your comments. And as I go through, I'll try and get. I see Helene is there. I see Sandra is there on Facebook. Good evening, everybody. So, for those of you who have just tuned in, we have a conversation firstly around negative self talk, and that is the space where we engage in our own heads about how badly we are, how poorly we manage our lives. And you think to yourself, but that doesn't make sense. It does. Because we've been conditioned over time to be negative. We've been conditioned in our own heads and hearts to believe that we are not worthy. We've been led to believe nothing we do is right because it's been reinforced over years and years of time and space where people have reinforced the negativity in our face. And I'm going to share a few tips with you that I'd like you to I'd like you to consider how you can amend this poor behavior. It's a family show, call it in other words, but it's poor behavior on our parts as adults to continue in this bad space. Because the negative self-talk eventually leads to a low self-esteem, and it eventually leads us to believe that we can't do anything right. If you remember last week, we said that Maxwell's theory of the 10,000 hour rule is a great theory. But the 10,000 hour rule applies correctly. It appears. So if you want to do something and you want it to remain and become subconscious, i.e., it becomes an automatic response to things, then you need to train your head positively at every turn that you can. Because once you are able to do that, it becomes part of who you are. It becomes ingrained in your ethos. It becomes ingrained in your subconscious. It becomes ingrained in everything that you do. It goes away. We can rewrite the software of our brains over and over and over and get an upgrade if you like. But in the back of our heads, our subconscious has stored it. And we don't lose. And at some point, when our backs are against the wall and things happen in a bad way, it comes to the fore. In the same way that I used the example earlier today, in a conversation where when you are in an argument and you feel like you're not winning, you kind of go and play dirty and you fetch something that you know is not to the person you're arguing with. You're going to give them a low blow about something that happened. You're going to go fetch out the archive and say, "Did you remember what you did there?" And automatically it throws that person off kilter and it gives you breathing space. We're going to get to moments like that. So let's consider a few opportunities of how we can change. The first one is the catch, check, and change method. So in this space, you need to be able to be cognizant, number one. Number two, you need to be self-aware. So remember, you might remember in previous shows we spoke about self-awareness. Self-awareness is grounding yourself in the moment, grounding yourself in something and making sure that you're here. So self-awareness in a space is something you see, you touch, you feel, you smell. And in that moment, you use one of those senses to kind of connect you to where you are. You kind of connect to something that's there to bring you back to reality and say, "Whoa, stop, Lori, I'm here." Because we need to be able to find the space where we can connect. And when we're able to do that, we can catch ourselves. So things happen and say, guys, in my head, I'm saying, oh, I could completely ruin that meeting. My life is over. What are people going to think of me now? And at that moment, when I'm having that thought, I need to kind of stop and say, hold on, did I ruin the entire meeting? Or was my comment, my one comment, out of place? And kind of kick and pull yourself towards yourself, as my grandmother would say, and say, how bad is the far that you made? Is it something that's career limiting? And if it is, or even not, or maybe it just didn't come out the way you wanted it to come out. So my question then is, how do I change what just happened? How do I change the outcome of what I just done? So I need to stop, catch it, catch the moment, acknowledge that I've done something wrong, evaluate it in that very space, say, this didn't go well for me. And then try and change the outcome. Change it in one way or another to be able to say, whoa, 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 whoa. If we continue down this trajectory, what's going to happen? But if I move in a different space, I can alter the outcome by doing it. And if it, this may be the one outcome, but someone may respond in this way, so I need to have a plan B, I need to have a plan C. Because as much as we want to plan, we can't preempt. We can preempt to a degree, but other people may respond and how they will interact with you post the engagement. How do we then respond to that negative engagement? Is the critical question. How do we change that trajectory to move in place where we want to deliver? But because we are then still caught in a negative space, we lose the plot and we toss it all away because I've internalized that I've made the error. And now because I've made the error, everything else we compound the challenge by continuously believing that it's an error. Instead of stopping, checking it, evaluating it, tick, give me I've made the error. Now I need to fix it. Now I need to remedy it. Now I need to move into a different. The second option I want you to consider is kind of name it. By naming it, I mean when you are, and invariably, and I'm guilty of it as well. When I have a negative self-talk, I'm often referring to myself in the third person. Did you see what he just did? How can he? How can you? You are speaking to yourself. So my next suggestion is name it. Give it a name. Call the voice of negative self-talk a horrible name. Drama queen. Fool. Idiot. No, idiots too close to home. Something that is distant, that kind of creates that barrier between the two of you. Something that is going to separate you. You're already separated by third person conversation. But you name it, it kind of makes it even sound bigger. Because now you're making you want to make it believe that it is someone else. And we kind of get stuck in that ritual of, oh, the drama queen's at it again. And you kind of think, oh, why are we fighting? I use the term often, me, myself, and I. The three of us connect. That's when I spend quality time with myself. I say me, myself, and I, because the three of us have meaningful conversation, but we also have bad conversation. We have bad conversation around negative self-talk. I belittle myself for the stupid decisions I believe of. So I'm no different from you. I'm still part of this brigade of negative self-talk. I'm far from perfect. The third one I want you to consider is we often say to ourselves, think of example, like we're speaking to somebody else, like you're speaking to your best friend. John said, but would John really say that? Would John really say that you are a fool? So almost taking that voice and making it as your best friend. How often do you think your best friend would say something bad about you? They criticize you in the hope of you becoming a better person, but they would never belittle you. Negative self-talk is belittling you at every opportunity that I get. It's the chance where I want to be able to say, "You didn't do this well," or "You are useless at what you do." And it's taking that space of turning it on its head. It's about being able to say, "My friend would never say that about me. My friend would never say that I'm a fool. He'd say that you made a poor decision, but he'd never belittle you and say that you're a fool. He'll never be able to say that you or he or she will never say that about you." The fourth potential solution is when I move to even if. And often we get to that space where, what if I did the presentation and it changes and I was right? What if? No, there's no what if, because you're a fool. You didn't put up your hand to want to ask that question. So how can you expect to have a positive response if you can't even get involved in the conversation? Yeah, but the people are going to think to ask a stupid question. But if you don't ask a stupid question, how are you going to get the answer? How are you going to understand it? That's kind of the conversation we have in our head. That's kind of the conversation we have in a meeting. And people think you're so engrossed in the conversation. Meantime, you're fighting in your head to try and make a decision of whether you ask a question or whether you're going to shut up and just be. And when we get to that point where we want to be able to just stand there and say, I did this or I didn't do that, we are so caught up in this fight in our heads that nothing seems to work. Nothing seems to change because we are stuck in the space of fighting in our heads. We are stuck in the space where things just go crazy in our heads. And then when it's
Hi, my name is Sean Peterson, and I am the owner of Tailored Shuttle Solutions, your only transport solution. Are tuned into AKR. Working Mama magazine is about supporting moms who juggle work, business, and raising kids. Our goal is to empower these moms, whether they have a job or running their own business. We want to create a community where moms can find inspiration, practical advice, and support to succeed at work, business, and home. We stand with the strict of working moms, encourage connections, and believe in a culture that values the many roles women play in today's busy world. Contact us via WhatsApp on 071-871-6601 or email is fisher at workingmama.com. For advertising, email advertising at workingmama.com.
DNA Cafe and Eatery in Clarence River is all about Cape Soul food. All-day breakfast, weekday dinners, burgers, ribs, Gatsby's, and the best pancake in town. Follow DNA on social media or visit the DNA website www.dnacafe.co.za for more info on specials, live shows and events, bringing the best in stand-up comedy, local artists and bands. DNA Cafe and Eatery always feels like home.
A wise man once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton David, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
This is Afrikaap Radio. Playing the music 24/7. And you're done.
All right, this is Africa Radio. This is Walk to Wellness. My name is Alton Davids. I'm the host. Welcome back. If you just tuned in, you missed part of the first hour. We had conversations around negative self-talk. And we will continue in a minute. I played the song Phil Collins in the air, and sometimes the reason I play that song is because, as you could hear, I was getting agitated with myself in this conversation I was having in this meeting. Oh, we don't get a contribute, I'm not going to contribute. And sometimes just check yourself, stop, change, make the decision, take that reality check to stop. And if you have to float away into a song, if you need to recover, get up, put yourself, feel your arms, feel your legs, make sure that you connect with something to bring you back to earth, because that is a telltale sign of how we can manage this. One of the ways to connect with ourselves is to be able to feel that we are in the same space, to be able to feel that life is still existing, that we are here. Often negative self-talk is part of the, and the bigger picture is around the space where we've not had a good upbringing, we've not had a good relationship space, and there's an unbalanced or misuse of power and control. And that then reinforces the space of I'm not worthy. It's that imbalance of someone talking down to you, someone making you feel, someone making you feel that you are. Yeah. And all of us have gone through the space in one way or another where it may be an adult, it may be your partner, man, may even be your child that has treated you so poorly. Often I see how parents get abused by their kids. I will talk about the different types of abuse. But what I'm referring to is as an example of children become disrespectful to their parents. They shout, they swear, they hit their parents. I've seen that. One particular story that rings to mind is the Alan Paki story, where as a result of drugs, the child beat the mother, stole everything from the mother, and eventually the mother killed the child out of self-defense. I hope it never gets to that. We need to find ways to manage our trauma situations better. And trauma is as a result of a stimulus, a negative stimulus that affects us. And we can unpack some of these things. So let's, for the sake of familiarity, let's look at the different types of abuse first. So we're all on the same page. Because as much as I want to say that we've done this, and for those of you who are loyal listeners, may find this slightly boring, but it may be a reminder to conversations we've had in the last year around the very topic of abuse, this very topic of GBV, this very topic of inequitable power, the unbalanced and misuse of power between male, female, 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 male, male, adult, child, however you want to look at it, because they are, it's a it's a complete dysfunction that happens. So the first and foremost abuse that we all know is physical abuse. First and foremost, let's get it out the way. Physical abuse is where someone inflicts physical harm on another human being's body, hitting, kicking, choking, slapping, kicking, basically causing an injury to that person. And when that happens, there are multiple causes for that to happen, first and foremost, which we're not going to get into the causes of abuse, because that's going to take me on a whole new tangent, and I'm not going to get through everything that I kind of have planned for tonight. Safe to say that the abuser Many would say, or the abusers would say, that they were provoked to abuse because it's something the abused did. So being abused is almost seen as a punishment or a reward for what you did. However you want to, however it is justified. However the abuser wants to justify their act, whoever they may be. Okay? So we're not labeling any particular person or persons to say that it's a male that abuses or it's a female that abuses. We say, let's park and keep it gender neutral. A person abuses an abused person physically, which results in a physical trauma, which results in physical treatment, medication, potential broken bones, which will need serious medical attention. And often, as one of the most physical aspects of abuse, the telltale signs are marks on the body, and we as the abused need to hide it. Because what are people gonna say? What are they gonna think of me? I got a hiding. Someone smacked me, someone kicked me, someone slapped me. Now there's marks on my body. How do I explain it? And we go through that cycle for a long time because had the negative self-talk now kicks in. That low self-esteem now kicks in because it now says, yeah, you're not worthy to be treated well. So it's good for you. It's good that they gave you a clap because you didn't want to listen. You kept on, you kept on, you kept on. Eventually, you got what you did. You see how the two link together. So we justify the abuse because we have empowered our negative self, for want of a better term. The next part of abuse is sexual abuse, where you are coerced or being forced to a consensual sexual activity. And that could be in the form of rape, sexual assault, molestation. Let's just park it there because it becomes very sensitive when you have these kinds of conversations. We're not going to be explicit about any of these. I'm just giving you a helicopter view. So even as a sexual assault, there will be physical marks, bruises, indications, which could be treated, which would potentially need to be treated medically. But along with that comes the psychological abuse. If you've been raped, it opens a whole can of worms about rape victim mentality, rape counseling, all of those things. If you want to know more about that, you can inbox me. We've had tons of conversations around that. I can share some stuff with you. On the process of when a child becomes, when a child is raped, what are the processes that needs to happen? We've had a conversation 3 or 4 times, I think, on the show. So I'm not going to get into that conversation, but safe to say that it does happen, it does exist, and it's real. But people don't have these conversations because they're afraid of what happens. The ones that are the other one, I think, potential that is a physical manifestation is neglect. A neglect about you not getting the basics, you're not getting what is humanly needed to survive. So, as an example, and this often happens when one becomes, and I had this conversation earlier today actually with one of my clients who was saying that every time they go to an old age home, a particular old age home, the minute they walk through the door, there's a strong stench of urine. And for me, that's serious neglect because Invariably, the person who has wet themselves is A, either incapacitated, they can't walk, or B, they can't think, or C, their nappies are worn out or soiled already as it is. And the neglect is because you, as the caregiver, is unable to keep that person clean. And it happens in a convalescent home as well, where you have stroke victims, you have paraplegics, where people are unable to care for themselves, and you, as the primary caregiver, can't perform the duty. That's another aspect of abuse without even thinking about it. When you think about it, no, that's a form of abuse. The ones that are less popular because you don't see them is financial and economic abuse. Financial and economic abuse, where someone wants to control your ability to have and spend money. So they want to control when you can and can't have things. So you'd be given an allowance, and even though you've been given an allowance, you're not given the free will to use that money as and when and how you want. It becomes a controlling aspect of it. Linked to that is the emotional and psychological abuse, where we are given the space to think that we are good, only to be slapped down six love to say, "What are you doing? Who do you think?" And we get whole tons and tons of insults because people think they are better. Do you agree? Disagree? Send me your comments to 069 on our in-studio line, or on my Facebook and on my YouTube, because now the conversation gets hard because now I have what is called cyberbullying, technology-based abuse, where people are negatively shooting each other down uh, in the inboxes or even on the spaces where people can see. And often that causes another nightmare on its own. Linked to that is potentially spiritual cultural abuse, where I'm made to feel that my beliefs are invalid. My beliefs are, why do you want to go to church? Does God exist? How come you think there's a God? What makes you think that God cares about you? And we get asked these questions in a space. We get asked these questions about whether things happen. Have you ever considered, have you ever considered choice or non-choice of reproduction, of having offspring? It's something that has been sitting in the back of my mind. Sandra says silent treatment is linked to emotional abuse. 100%. 100%. You have an argument, someone keeps quiet, and they walk away and they say nothing. There's a theory that says that people refuse to have children, not because they can't, but they refuse to have children, could be seen as abuse. It's something I want to engage, something I read years ago, and I've not found enough literature about it. But it's something I want to just spark your interest. It's something that I'm going to engage in my head. Then there's a thing called gaslighting. Any of you know what's gaslighting? Any of you heard of this term gaslighting? Gaslighting is where we believe, or someone makes you believe that you're crazy. You really? You sure? Is that something you think, something you believe? And often when we think that, strange things happen. Strange things happen because we then believe that things are different. And when that happens, we need love.
Won't pretend that I intend to stop living. Won't pretend I'm not living. I can't hate you. I try. I still really, really love you. Love is stronger than pride. I still really, really love you. Pretend that I intend to stop living. Won't pretend I'm good at forgiving. But I can't hate you. Oh, I tried. I still really, really love you. It's stronger than pride. I still really, really love you. Wasting my time. We lie, wait for the sun to rise. It's all too clear. Things come and go. Seem to be waiting for you. Would be like waiting for winter. It's gonna be cold. It's so I still really, really love you. Love is stronger than pride. I still really, really love you. Love is stronger. I still really love you. Love is stronger than pride.
Whether you like it light and sweet, or perhaps even dark and bitter, Jude's Rhyming Coffee Grind is the perfect job to kickstart your day. For every purchase made, they will donate 10 Rand to the Special Olympics team of the Western Cape. Follow them on social media, the Rhyming Ground Coffee Spot, or order now via WhatsApp on 076 682 8045. Jude's Rhyming Coffee Grind. Coffee for a cause. Understanding that presentation is everything, Janine and her team at Exquisite Banner Walls can design for birthdays, weddings, matric farewells, and just about everything in between. Check them out on Facebook at JPECME or the website on www.exquisitebannerwalls.co.za. Alternatively, send inquiries via WhatsApp on 083 450 1802 for their latest catalog, designs, and pricing. Exquisite Banner Walls, designs produced to provide clients with the best possible experience.
A wise man once said, success is not final, is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton David, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
This is Afrikaap Radio, playing music 24/7 on your dial.
All right, if you just tuned in, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. My name is Alton. I'm the host of Walk to Wellness, brought to you by All My Sports SA. We're having conversations, as always, on a Wednesday evening with me on a range of different topics. And tonight we are engaging around, firstly, positive, negative self talk. Then we had a conversation, a little bit of engagement around the concept of abuse, elements of abuse. And I'd like to have a conversation with you on +7069245943 or on my Facebook or on my YouTube. And let's have a conversation around the topic of gaslighting. And for many of you, you've not engaged in this thought of gaslighting. Let me read you some sense of a definition. I see Letitia says, and Jackie said they're loving the music. Thank you, ladies. Um, Love is Stronger Than Pride by Sade. It's one of my favorite songs. Um, and it ties in with the concept of abuse because people often misuse love and abuse. People say, no, she needed that or he needed that because they were spending too much money. So I took it responsible. I love them enough to save them. Do you? Or is it a way of controlling? And it links to gaslighting because gaslighting is a psychological tactic where partners systematically undermine your reality. They deny what happens. They deny and say, no, 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 no. I think you're misunderstanding the whole situation. To the point you kind of distrust yourself completely because they're ever making you believe that you are going crazy. You are barking up the wrong tree, as they say. And when you live in this space of A, being abused, B, being gaslit, you have this heightened sense of vigilance. You have this heightened sense of what ifs. If I do this, what's going to happen? How is my person going to respond? Or how is my mother or my father or my brother or my sister going to respond? Because abuse is not about a parent to a child. or a husband to a wife, or a partner to a partner. It could be siblings to each other. It could be friends to each other. It could be family to family. And when that happens, we get into that heightened sense of anxiety. We get into that heightened sense of you intend the hooks. You don't know if you breathe. You don't know if you must smile. You don't know if you must look left, right, up, down. And you enter almost into this tippy toe experience where you walk on your tippy toe all over the show because you're unsure of what to do. You're unsure of if you can talk or not talk. Kim on Facebook says you play multiple scenarios in your head causing premature anxiety. 100% Kim. 100%. Because you're so caught up in this what if scenario that you forget reality exists because you in your head you are all over the show. You're thinking about a million things. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? What am I going to do? What am I not going to do? And we lose focus of that. We get caught up in that space of uncertainty. We get caught up in the space of not knowing what is going to happen if this and if that, and if I do this and if I do that. And that heightened sense of anxiety, that premature anxiety, as Kim puts it on Facebook, gets the cortisol and adrenaline going. So you have this flight fight response where you have your body's tense all the time. You are caught up in the space of uncomfortability. Kim says, based on thoughts and not facts, 10 to 1. One of your scenarios become fact, or you hope, or you think that it will. So in your mind, your scenarios are factual. And why is it factual? Because it's based on past experience. It's based on things that you've learned and lived through. And it's your lived reality. So now you already know what happened in the past. You already know what happened in the past. Now you're too afraid to step into the space in the event that it happens again. Sandra says, like walking on eggshells around them. 100%. You are so tense. It's like you don't know what to do. Do I go left? Do I go right? And you're part of the challenge around that is that people have a heightened sense of anxiety, which causes adrenaline to flow. It causes cortisol to flow. It causes hydrochloric acid to form and develop in your stomach, which results in your stomach lining burning, which results in an ulcer. So ulcers are one example of a physical manifestation of anxiety. Over and above that, there's multiple others: lack of sleep, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attack. And eventually it becomes so bad that potentially you may have a stroke. We've spoken about that about a month ago, the frailty of man. The physical manifestation is what gets to us. Because despite the anxiety that we have and feel, it has real physical consequences even without the abuse. Because we've become so conditioned to it. Remember, I spoke about Pavlov's theory of conditioning in psychology. The psychologist Pavlov uh, did this conditioning theory where he took a dog to water, and if the dog gave the dog had food and then ring the bell, the dog would salivate. Eventually, he took the dog and gave him an empty bowl and rang the bell, and the dog still salivated. And as the result of that, we become conditioned to a certain space. We become conditioned to what is there, and it becomes our lived norm. It becomes our lived experience. And because we're so heightened anxiety, we battle to have deep sleep. We battle to sleep because there are so many things happening in our head and our hearts, and we are so caught up in our heads, first and foremost, that our subconscious battles to rest. Our subconscious battles to slow down and say, whoa, 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 guys, we need to take a step back. We need to sleep. Because we are so caught up in fighting in that battle. We are so caught up in wondering, what if, what if, what if? What if this? What if that? Sandra says our bodies hold onto the trauma and manifest in physical and emotional pain. 100%. 100%. There's a book I was reading, or I started reading, I didn't finish it, called The Body Holds a Trauma. Exactly what Sandra's saying. Because we have so much trauma within us, we internalize our trauma more than we externalize it. And because we internalize the trauma, eventually it becomes pain. Eventually it becomes a physical ailment, and eventually our bodies explode. I used the example today of if you take a gas cooling, let's take a Coke, and you shake that bottle with the top on it as hard and as long as you can, eventually that pressure within that bottle is going to force that cap to explode. And when it explodes, all that Coke comes pouring out. And the same thing happens with us. Our bodies are shaken, rattled, and rolled in all directions because of anxiety. Our bodies are moving and not being able to adjust quick enough. And eventually we have a physical ailment, to Sandra's point. And to Kim's point, it then results in us not being able to sleep. And the first step to dealing with it is to recognize it. Remember, take 5 steps back. Let's go back to the conversation earlier around negative self-talk. In the same way, check and change here. We need to shift our focus, convince ourselves of the truth. We need to convince ourselves and protect our reality, protect our sanity, and protect our emotional space. Because the theory says only control what's within my control. I can only respond the way I can respond. I can't control how someone else responds. I can't control what they think. I can't control what they feel. I have no control of their past experiences that have shaped their, but I have control of them. And it's an understanding of how to control my lived reality and how I'm able to deal with my past, which will shape my future. It's what's going to change my lived reality. It's what's going to change my beautiful space. What's going to shape the world I live in. And it's going to change the way I see things. Because often in that time, we fight and we challenge and we hope for a beautiful world.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see more and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see eyes of blue and clouds of white. The bright blessed day, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of rainbow, spreading in the sky, are on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how they do. What a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful. Yeah.
A wise man once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. Courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Dr. David, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
This is Afrikaap Radio. Play the music 24/7 in your life.
Welcome back to Africa Radio. And for those who've just joined, like Carmen Rodriguez, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We walk to one sport, my sports. We have about a half an hour left, roughly, in conversation around our topic this evening. It's a heavy topic, but it's something I think needs a bit of conversation. I played you what a wonderful, what a great side, Louis Armstrong, because we get caught up in this fairy tale sometimes that in this wonderful world, and then we get hit on the side of our heads by reality. We got hit on our heads by life is not a box of chocolates, and we get gaslit by our friends and family. And I want to suggest a few alternatives to being able to deal with these things. The first one is to recognize a trigger or a red flag. Recognize when something seems familiar that is not good. That's what a trigger is. It's understanding when something hits you. As my grandmother would say, met 'n nat snoek word hy gekrap. Because that fish is so cold and so heavy that when it hits you, man, oh man, you'll know you. How do you see and recognize abuse? How do you see and know that things are unnatural for you? And how do you stop yourself from getting into that position of going down that rabbit hole? How do you stop being gaslit? When someone says to you, I never said that. Are you sure it was me? I think you're making this up, my friend. Or they will say, I think you're too sensitive. You clearly you're blowing the thing right out of proportion. You sure that's how it happened? Really? You're really sure? You can't be serious. That must be a joke. Have you heard this kind of thing people say? That's an example of how people will gaslight you. They make you feel like, are you sure? When you tell them that these things are happening to you, they're like, no, man, it can't be. That person would never do that. For real? Nah, I think smoking cheap. Cheap drugs, my friend. You need to get your head. Gaslighting erodes the trust that you have with erodes that tangible feeling where you believe and know it in yourself that this is right. Because they make you believe it. No, 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 no. Something's not kosher here. What do you know? There's something not right about this place. If you check the facts, you understand what's happening. And sometimes we need to do that reality check. We need to do that self-awareness check. See, touch, feel, no. Smell, touch something, feel something. Make sure that you are grounded. Make sure that you're connected to something to make sure that you're alive. That what you are feeling and experiencing is real. And sometimes in an abusive situation, post the abuse, we need to sit and write these things down. Because sometimes writing it down helps us see it differently. We have a external view on it. Because now we see the how things have played itself out and how things have changed. We are also able to see what the triggers are to be able to stop us from walking on eggshells, from having that anxiety in our heads and being able to do things differently. Shawnee says on our WhatsApp line, when I played What a Wonderful World, she said, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Why do I suddenly hear these lyrics differently tonight? Suddenly a new perspective. And I responded and said, what do you mean? And she says, everything in life is not just sunshine and roses. We would love it to be clear skies, sunshine and green trees all the time, but it's not. We would love for the world to be a wonderful all the time. In utopia, Yeshua, in utopia, we believe that world would be easy and life would be bliss. Carmen on the Facebook says, once you truly know who you are, it's much easier to spot red flags. Stop ignoring things that don't sit right with you, and stop making excuses for people's behavior. As you grow, you realize that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. 100%. Some people support you in your journey while others constantly drain your energy or hold you back. Let me pause there. Some people support your energy, your journey, while others constantly drain your energy and hold you back. Back to gaslighting, back to who's in your corner to support you. Sometimes it's even family members. Whew! Come stories, no it. Truth. Often family members are they don't support you in times of abuse because it's another family member or somebody you know, which is often the case in abuse. That doesn't mean you stop loving them. It simply means you choose boundaries and protect your peace. Not everyone will understand your growth, and that's okay. When you're aligned with who you are, you become more careful about who you allow access into your life. 100% common. And if you remember, those of you who were on the show last week, I spoke of the seven circles of relationships. It's you, it's the people around you, and as the circles become bigger, the people's circle of influence becomes more and more less important. Coming back to Shawnee's point, life is not all about roses. Life is not a box of chocolates. Life is not happy-go-lucky. There are consequences to what we do. There are consequences to where we engage and find our space. But we believe in this, that this world is a wonderful place. It is. 90% of the time, we make it unhappy and unpleasant because we allow people, to Carmen's point, to dictate to us what, where, and how we must do. Because we allow people to tell us, they try to tell us we're too young. No, 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 not that. They try to tell us that we are not worthy. We are failing at what we're doing. And sometimes we need to take a reality check. and look at the situation. So we've written it down and say, whoa, 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 this doesn't look right. Things need to change here because you chronicle the direction of where this thing is going. You write it down and you see this is point A, this is point B, and you kind of write down all the steps. And the Kim's point eventually is not a mental thing. It now becomes a physical thing because you have it in front of you. You can see every time I do X, Y happens. When this happens, that happens. There's a consequence to the action. And often abusers use that as a justification for what they do. And the abused, on the other hand, needs to be aware of what happens, what the consequences are for certain things that happen. And 90% of the time, it's out of their control. No one chooses to be abused. Let's be brutally honest. Nobody chooses to be abused. But we get caught up in the space where abuse happens, often as a result of the circle of abuse that that person has found themselves in. And unless that circle of abuse is broken, it doesn't change anything. It keeps us in that wheel of despair. It keeps us on that hamster wheel that just keeps turning and turning and turning and turning and turning because nothing changes. Nothing changes because we are so caught in the hamster wheel that we just keep running, 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 and hoping something's going to change. But to Einstein's point, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, please don't expect a different response. And often we get to that point where we feel like we are at the end of the rope. We feel like we are reaching burnout, and we feel like there is no one there for us. And we feel like, who do I turn to? Who is there for me?
And I never thought I'd be this way. And as far as I'm concerned, then I got a chance to say that I do believe I love you. And I should never go away. But close your eyes and try the way we do today. And then you can remember. Keep smiling, keep shining. Oh, and you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends Well, you came in up in me. There's so much more I see. And so by the way I met you, oh, yeah, all the times when you were apart, well, the cool rising love, and words are coming from my heart. And then you can break me apart. Oh, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. In good times, in bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. Oh, that's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining. You can always tell you that's what friends are for. Oh, good times, never bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. Friends are
This is Afrikaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
A wise man once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. Courage to continue, that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton Davies, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
Welcome back to Walk Sports Today. My name is Alton Davids. I'm the host of the show. I see my good friend and colleague Charles Samuels is also joined in the conversation, and we're having conversations around our mind space. We're having conversations around how to manage our mind space when we are faced with negative self-talk, when we are faced with abuse, when we are faced with gaslighting. And I played you the song by Dion Warwick and Friends. That's what friends are for. Because invariably we need a network of support. Invariably we need people around us. Because to Kim's point, sometimes you become so burnt out that often you don't even recognize it because it's become the new. It becomes the new. What is around me is this is how life is now. Is it really how you want to live? Sometimes you don't have a choice because this is the hand you've been dealt with, and this is the hand that you now need to play. And we get caught up in the cycle of either enabling the toxic environment, we enable the negative self-talk that happens within our heads, and it's so overwhelming that eventually it overshadows every single thing we do. Sometimes we need the common point earlier. We often need people around us to help us. We often need people around us to care. We often need people around us to just be there. And you may be on either side of the scale right now. You may be someone who's going through an abusive relationship. You may be someone who's fighting significant negative self talk. You may be on the brink of burnout or even there already. Let me suggest that there's hope. Let me suggest that there are people out there who care. And on the opposite side, you who are the carer, here's a few things for you. They will come back to the abused. So as someone who is willing to offer some sort of support, you need to be a supporter, not a savior. You can't fix their lives. You can't force them to leave their bad partners. You are not the cure for their depression. But you can be supportive to their cause. You can be there to say, let me help you through this in a not judgmental way. Because often when we come alongside someone, we say, oh, I don't know why you chose that person. He was wrong for you. I told you that from the very beginning. You're not making it any easier. In fact, you're gaslighting that person because you're making that person feel even less worthy. You're pushing them further down. You're making them feel even worse because the decision they made, they regret it already as it is. They're in the situation, and now you want to add wood onto the fire. You want to add more to make, instead of killing the fire, you're making it bigger. Often people feel and say, yo, I don't know why I did that. That was wrong of me. It's not your job to go alongside him and say, oh, you're amazing. But more come alongside him and say, okay, why would you think that you're a bad parent? What did you do that was so wrong? And walk the journey with him to be able to understand what the challenges are. Don't judge, but be a supportive friend. Someone who's there to share, to care, and to love. Someone who is there to offer support when times are tough. Be there when someone needs you. Don't say, I'm coming, why are you still here? Rather say, can I come sit by you? Or can I take your children away from you? Let me spend time with your children so you can have a break. Let me give you the space to just have some free time, just to breathe. And sometimes that's what people just want. They just want someone there to give them the space, someone there to give them a listening ear. They just need someone there to say, talk to me. Maybe not even answer the problem or fix the problem. They just want to offload. They just want to share their burden and make them feel a bit lighter. They want to surround themselves with people who care, surround themselves with positivity, surround themselves with something warm. To Shawnee's point, to remind them that there is a wonderful world. And we, as friends and family, should be that caring and supportive people to engage and encourage that space, not be condemning and judging. But when you're in that space, you need to build yourself and insulate yourself almost. That negativity doesn't seep inside of you. It's like a sponge. When someone shares with you, do you receive it and internalize it? Do you accept it as your own fight and struggle? Or do you empathize and sympathize and say, okay, I'm here for you. Let's have this conversation. Share your thoughts, share your views. Let me listen to you with no judgment, but let me hear to understand you and let me see how I can help you. And often we're not there to share and to solve the problems. We're just there to offer that support. We need to be that physical sanctuary where sometimes people just need a hug. They just need a smile. They just need a touch on the shoulder and say, hey, I see you. I hear you. I don't have the answer, but my door's open. And sometimes that's just be what people need. They need that space for them to say, okay, thank you for being there, for listening to me, and being open to receive some of the things I want to say. And sometimes it comes when we least expect it. It comes when we least expect that person to say anything.
I've been alone with you inside my mind, and in my dreams I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. I sometimes see you pass outside my door. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes, I can see it in your smile. You're all I've ever wanted, and my arms are open wide. Don't you know just what to say, and you know just what to do, and I want to tell you so much. I love you. I long to see the sunlight in your hair and tell you time and time again how much I care. Sometimes I feel my heart will overflow. Hello, I've got to let you know. Are you somewhere feeling lonely? Or is someone loving you? Tell me how to win your heart, for I haven't got a clue. But let me start by saying I love you. Hello, is it me you're looking for? 'Cause I wonder where you are, and I wonder what you do. Are you somewhere feeling lonely? Does someone love you? Tell me how to win your heart, for I haven't got a clue. But let me start by saying I love you.
A wise man once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts." This is Walk to Wellness with Alton David, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
This is Afrikaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
That's right. This is Africa Radio. This is Walk to Wellness. My name is Alton Davids. We are coming to the end of the show, and Jill says on Facebook, absolutely, Alton, just to listen and not to judge. But we need healthy boundaries for our own peace, for our own peace, our own sanity, and well-being. A show on live radio will talk about boundaries tomorrow, and 100% Jill, because as much as we want to help people, that's why I played that song by Lionel. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Because sometimes we need to reach out when we see our friends are battling, when we see our friends, and often we don't because we are too afraid. We're too afraid. We're too afraid of may need me to do to help my friend. I'm so caught up in what I need to do that I forget that my friend is going through worse experiences than I am. Who knows? I don't know. But because I'm not having a conversation with him, I don't know. I'm not having that non-judgmental space. And to Sanders' point, I'm not there to listen. The converse is also true. That the abused feels ashamed to say that this is happening to me. They are ashamed to say, I need help. They are ashamed to say that, yo, bro, I don't know where to turn. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how or what is going on in this world that I don't know because we're too embarrassed. We're too embarrassed to admit that the negative self talk has found a reality in our home. It's found a reality in my space that I am overwhelmed by it. That depression has got me six love and knocked me off my feet. I'm at the space where I'm burnt out and I don't have anything left inside. There is help, my friend. There is help. Amanda says on Facebook, I Alton, great topic. Could part of the reason women prolong negative or abusive situations be as a result of our nurturing instincts, the problem solving, caring nature? These behaviors are seen throughout creation. We had to compare. Amanda, 100%. Because we, as human beings, have the innate positivity and ability to want to see a change. We, as the abused, often say, no, man, did this really just happen to me? Ach, it's a once off. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen again. Because you have that innate positive feeling that what's happened can't be a lived reality. But abused once is abused too many times. And because we engage in that negative space, we allow ourselves to be engulfed in that space. We allow ourselves to be engulfed in that negative. We allow ourselves to be caught up in that downward spiral that sometimes leads to suicide. Jill says, I think, Elton, we were trained or taught to deal with things on our own and bite the bullet and move on because what will people say? 100% Jill. It's the same as 10, 15 years ago when you got divorced. People say, ooh, did you see they got divorced? What kind of people are they? What happened? How did their parents raise them? It's the same thing about abuse. It's exactly the same thing about abuse. People have the negative stereotype of you because that has happened to you. And you, the abused, not the abuser. My friend, you need to reach out. Find someone that you can trust, that you can share your deepest and painful moments with, whoever they may be. Someone that is there who will be not judgmental, someone that will be there to take care of you, someone will be there to support you, someone will be there to put arm around you and allow you to be vulnerable. Someone be there to engage you, to have an open and direct conversation. Someone to be there to say, I care. And there are many people in this world who will offer you that shoulder, offer you that hand of friendship, offer you that space to engage. But as the abused, you need to be willing to step forward and say, I need help. And when that happens, things change. As someone on the other side, be there and offer support, offer assistance, not judgmental, with the care and love that a friend can do. My name's Alton Davis. Thank you for tuning in. When all of that is past, we'll have sunshine. Have yourselves an amazing week. I will see you in 2 weeks' time, God willing. I'm closing out with one of my favorites. Ciao for now.
As I look into your eyes, I see the sunrise. The light behind your face helps me realize. We sleep and sometimes love until the moon shines. Maybe the next time I'll be yours and maybe you'll be mine. I don't know if it's even in your mind at all. Could be me at this moment in time. Is it in your mind at all? It should be me. That's in me. Mine forever. Wondering if life will love come home to you. The love you want forever will may be true to you. We sleep and sometimes love until the moon shines. Maybe the next time I'll be yours and maybe you'll be mine. I don't know if it's even in your mind at all. Could be me at this moment in time. Love's indescribable. It should be me. That's in me. Mine forever. I don't know if it's even in your mind at all. Could be me at this moment in time. Is it in your mind at all? It should be me. That's in me. Mine forever. At this moment in time, is it in your mind at all? It should be me. That's in me. Mine forever.
A wise man once said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is Walk to Wellness with Alton Davis, right here on Afrikaap Radio.
Cheers, everybody.